to decide. So they have decided that this should be the spelling and how we have to pronounce. Okay, so this is codification. Next we will discussing about elaboration of function. Now two steps are completed, selection is done, codification is done. Next is this, that we have to say what are should be the function of this codification of this particular language. So in now once it has given a status of a standard language, now this language should be in the public place, in the public domain, the lectures, the seminars, textbooks, government agencies, laws, etc. So many things are there. We can decide that these functions will be of this particular language. Okay, so that means we have given us kind of elaboration or elaborated function to the particular language. After giving this one, that the text are being produced in this particular language, fine. And now the government agencies are also using the same languages. Law has some rules that they could also use this language in this practice, fine. So here ultimately what we have given the function to this particular language. The last step is this acceptance. What is acceptance? That once the thing has come in the public domain, the community, it starts accepting it, and they also try to understand this one, and they would also ultimately give the acceptance, even they have different language. But once they have understood this is the standard language, the politicians also using same language, the schools are using the same language, the government agencies are using same language, that means this particular language has its own value. So once we have understood the value of something, so we definitely will accept the thing. Okay, so these are the some steps of process of standardization, selection, codification, elaboration, and after that acceptance. Once the language is accepted, it has become the standard language. Sometimes the same language has such an influence on the government agencies, and it may become an official language also. So depends that what are the influencing factors. Fine. So I hope you have understood the word standardization of a language, the process of a standardization. Fine. So once you have understood standardization, so we will discuss about dialect. Right? So here is one definition given by one linguist, Wardrow. What he says, that standardization as the process by which a language has been codified in same way. That process usually involves the development of such things as grammar, spelling, books, and dictionaries, and possibly a literature. So ultimately, what is this? The standardization means it comes in public domain, and then we start using this one, and we have a literature in that particular language. We have dictionaries, we have reference books. So ultimately, this is the definition given by particular linguist. Fine. So next we will be discussing dialect. It was important to understand standard language. Then only you will be able to understand dialect. What is dialect? Okay, so what is this? The term dialect comes from the Greek word dialectos. Okay, which means a variety of language. So dialect exactly has been derived from the Greek word. Fine. And the meaning of this word is variety of language. So here dialect means there is one standard language, say Hindi. Okay. And it has some more varieties. And what are these varieties? Every region has different, grammar, its own vocabulary. So, but basically they have come from the one, standard language, say Hindi. Fine. So I'm taking example, Okay, first of all, let me complete this and then we'll take the examples. Okay, so whereas dialect on the one hand refers to the particular variety of a language that is a characteristic of a particular group of that language's speaker. So what is that variety? So here two definitions are given. Okay, so according to the one definition, it is a particular variety, one type of a particular language which a particular group speaks. Fine. So yet on the other hand, the second definition is what it says: to a variety of language which is supposedly socially subordinate to regional or national language. So here that means one is their standard language and second one is subordinate language. So we will say that it has a little bit lower status, but still while there is a standard language, and from that one we have one subordinate language that is called as dialect. See, India, which I told, that is a multilinguistic country. Fine. So we have the region wise, you would have noticed that every region has a particular language, particular way of using the language, how they are speaking it. People like say in Greater Noida. Okay, so they have the vocabulary, what they are picking up, what they are using, that will be slightly different, which might be used by the people from Ghaziabad. Okay, so here that means regional differences are there. Reason-wise, you may find the difference in the language, in particular language. So it has different grammar or may have different vocabulary, that is dialect. So ultimately we have the definition: dialects refers to the features of pronunciation. Fine. Pronunciation, I would say one particular word is being pronounced by the person who is residing in Greater Noida. He is pronouncing the word differently, and the same word is being pronounced by the another person from another region. I have picked up Ghaziabad. So he is speaking differently by pronouncing differently. So here we have seen the change in the language that is called as dialects. I hope the things are clear. First is standard language and dialect. Dialect is a variety of a particular language. Fine. It's not that language, but it's a variety, or it might be some subordinate part of that standard language. Fine. So that means region-wise you may find the difference in the language. We would have more examples. Okay. So here one example is here. Say we have Braj Bhasha, Khadi Boli, Bundeli, Avdi, Kannauji are major dialects of Hindi. Now things will be clear to you. Braj Bhasha, it consists of two terms, Braj, and that means region, and Bhasha. That means language is a major dialect of Hindi which is spoken in the northern western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh, eastern part of the state of Rajasthan, and southern part of state Haryana. Okay, so that means it is a dialect. Dialect, that means region wise, the language has been spoken by the people. Fine. So Khadi Boli, this also has it's related to the area. It's also the dialect. That means variety of Hindi. Exactly what I'm telling, variety of Hindi. Hindi is a standard language. It has some varieties, that is variety of Hindi. So here it's the surrounding areas in major state of Uttar Pradesh as well as the western region of state of Uttarakhand. So that means Delhi is also dialect. Okay, of Hindi. Hindi we have standard language, Bundeli, which being spoken by the people who reside in Bundelkhand region of Madhya Pradesh, as well as southern parts of Uttar Pradesh. So Bundelkhandi are some, what is the last line? What it says that Bundelkhandi and Braj Bhasha find similarity with Braj Bhasha. So that means they are similar. Now why these languages are similar? Why there is some similarity? Similarity might be the regions are, they are interconnected, or while just the boundary, I'll not go in depth. Otherwise, we have region-wise division, and that people who lives near the same boundary, one boundary is there near the boundary, you may find that the language similarity would be there. Okay, so might be the reason. So here, so next, ultimately, what we are discussing, it can further be added that language varieties are often called dialects rather than language. They are not exactly language, they are variety of that particular language. Okay, so why? Because they have no standard or codified form. Standard or codified, that means they are not being given, they have not accepted like a standard language. They haven't, it has grammar, but it's not, fixed, it's not written. So that it could be the when the speakers of the given language do not have a state of their own. Obviously, if they have depends upon the influence of the state. Particular language is a dialect. They are rarely or never used in writing. These languages which are not used in writing, obviously, they may lose their so that they just become a spoken language and then ultimately a dialect. They lack prestige with respect to standardized variety. Okay, it's also because the standard thing, we say a standard brand. If the brand is there and we have a local, we say it's a local. We do not buy, it's very, if we see like commodity wise, when we go in a particular, mall and it has a brand name, okay, so you will get influence whether it is costly or something, but you will buy it. But the same thing is available, but it hasn't given any brand name. So what would you say? No, it's local, I won't buy. Maybe it's this kind of, some people have mentality. I'm not saying everything is like this, but still. So why? Because the particular brand, which is the brand, okay, it has been given a standard status, and the local, which is not being recognized by every person. Okay, so this is the difference between the standard language and the dialect. So exactly we can say the language which is not in use, the language is not in written form, the language which is not has been given, which has not been given any standard, so we consider it as a dialect. Fine. So now we come to the word idiolect. Dialect region-wise change. Fine. So it's a region-wise change in the particular language. It's a variety of a language. Fine. So here idiolect, it depends. That means idiolect, it's individual speaker, how he uses the words, the sentences. That means individually, I say the person from MP, the person from Bihar. Okay, both of them using, suppose, one language, that is Awadhi. So they have one dialect. This person using his own dialect, this person is using his own dialect. Now both person, they are saying the same thing, using the same language, but the pronunciation, both persons pronunciation differs. So this is called as idiolect. Idiolect, that means individually how the person is using his dialect, his vocabulary, his language, that is idiolect. Here example, I have written one example, uncle. Okay, so the word exactly, I said uncle. So, but the word is exactly, the pronunciation is uncle. First pronunciation, that is exact. This is the, sorry, The first is the correct pronunciation. This is uncle. Fine. Some says it as uncle and some says uncle. Just I said earlier. Okay. So here you may find the word is same, spelling is same, but the pronunciation is different. One person is telling uncle, one person is telling uncle. So that means both person, they are using different pronunciation. If they are using different pronunciation, this is called as idiolect. Those persons are differently using different, same words, but in the different manner. Fine, this is idiolect. Idiolect, again, we have some arguments in favor of this. What say idiolect is manifested by patterns of vocabulary. Which vocabulary using? Words use is has its own, way of writing, has his own way of speaking. So unique, so unique, way of writing of or speaking of any individual is called as idiolect. For example, it's not only in spoken terms, we say in writing also we have different idiolect. Okay, for example, Shakespeare, what he writes, how he writes, what content he uses. Charles Dickens, how does he presents his ideas through his novel or papers. Thomas Hardy, how he has written his novels. So that means while we read, we can understand this passage must be or Charles Dickens might have written this. So why we recognize that this particular writer has written this one? Because of his uniqueness. Okay, his writing is individual. He is expressing himself in his own words, in his own ideas, in his own language. So this is the different idiolect. Idiolect, that means written language and the written and the spoken. So these two terms they use in their own way. Fine. So this is idiolect. Next one is I'll take some queries after 10 minutes. If you have some queries, please write on in the chat box, and I will be discussing your queries. Fine. So after exactly 10 minutes, I will be taking your queries. So here, next term which comes, this is also part of your unit first. Okay, so here dialects register, there is some slight difference. And what is difference? Dialects have this variety of language according to the users. Okay, so how users are speaking, how they are using, that is dialect. But the registers are the varieties of language according to use, how we use where it depends upon the subject, and this is the practical area. So dialect is a practical area. Just speak with here, this is technical, that in a particular so register refers to linguistic variation determined by subject matter. Subject will decide that which kind of language we will be using. Fine. So maybe it's a formal, it's in passive voice or in active voice. It depends. Example is here scientific. While we see your science books. Fine. So in science book, everything mostly the main purpose fine, and this would be from the history, or this would be from political science, or maybe from economics or maths. How we decide? Because of these, because of this register of language according to the subject. Fine. So here in science we use mostly passive voice. There are some formulas and we have some technical terminology. So here, for example, a test tube is taken and the liquid heated. You know, this is given in passive voice. So what is this? A test tube is and the liquid heated. Okay, the some salt is added. It's a very bland kind of language, just like the main purpose is only to give you the information, to give you the facts, to give you the idea what we have done. So someone is doing some experiment, have you done? So he would say, so I have taken the test tube has been taken, salt as added. So that means here the main purpose is just to give the basic information. So here every subject has its language. So that is register. If we talk about cricket commentary, so we have some words: mid-on, square leg, silly points, etc. So you would understand that we are talking about cricket. We are not talking about science. If I'm using mid-on the sports, we will understand that this is from this particular sport, this is from science, this is from Hindi, this is from this particular literature. So this is the register. That means how the linguistic variation determined by subject matter. Subject matter will decide that which language, which word, in what structure we have to write. This is register. I hope things are clear to you. Fine. So next, this is the next part of the topic from the unit, which is style. Style, it's very easy, like way of communication. So exactly, I'll use the word here. It arises because of the nature of speech context social with your counselor. What kind of you are using? What kind of language you are using? What are we speaking with the friends or colleagues? So following some instructions, or the instructions are being given to us. So this depends. Your communication, different situation is called as style. So we have some ranges: intimate, consultative, formal, and frozen. And you will understand. And now the same thing is you have to say in the formal manner with your colleagues. Okay, so the person is smoking. So you can say, sir, please do not, smoking is not allowed. Fine. So this is formal setting, how you are speaking, what is the way or the speech context. What is the speech context? What is the situation where you are speaking? Consultative. Someone will consult you. You should not smoke. It's injurious. Fine. So it's a consultative. Casually, you are saying to your friend, no, you should not. Do not. Okay. So you should not smoke. Just like in a casual manner, you have told him, because you are giving him warning also that it's not good for health. Intimate, in intimate relation, you can say, I said do not smoke. So that means it depends that how and where and who is the speaker, who is the participant, and who is the, what is the situation and what is the speech context. So this is style. Style, again I'm telling, way of communication, different situation. Fine. So next, code mixing and code switching. These two terms I will cover, and then I think unit 1 almost will be completing. So here, like bilingual or multilingual person, he is communicating to another multilingual person, may not be necessarily use a single. So here, what we talk about single language all the time. So we are bilingual, we speak Hindi, we speak English, we are using both languages. Fine. So here you just understand what is code switching and code mixing. Code switching refers to a situation when we switch between two languages or two dialects. I said we have two languages and two dialects. Fine. So I'm speaking to my mother. I'm using my mother tongue. At that point, the other, my friend or my any colleague would come here. So suddenly I'm speaking with my mother to my mother in my mother tongue, and suddenly I have to speak to the person, okay, in some formal language, maybe in Hindi or maybe in English. So that means we have switched the language from one particular language. Now I have changed my language, other language. So completely from switch from one language to another language is called as code switching. I think it's clear. Code switching, that means one language, and then you are speaking someone in Hindi, and the other person who comes who understands only English, then who you will start speaking in English. So you have switched off speaking in English, and you sorry, in Hindi you have started speaking in English. So two languages, different places you are using at the same time. Code mixing. Code mixing. So sorry, just I have to write here code mixing. So exactly, code mixing is, that means we are using two languages simultaneously. Fine, two languages simultaneously. Just we have the example. Sorry यार, कुछ important काम था, आ गया, मैं आज शॉपिंग के लिए नहीं आ पाऊंगा. So that means we are using two languages together. Okay, one is Hindi, then English word, then Hindi word, then English. So according to my convenience. So whatever we are using two languages simultaneously, one language, one word, second word, third word, we can mix two languages together. That is called as code mixing. I hope the things are clear. Code switching, one language completely, you are speaking to someone, and someone comes, you speak another language, you come, you speak in one dialect to other person, that is code switching. You are speaking two languages together, mixing two languages, that is code switching. I hope the things are clear to all of you. It's just a kind of overview. You have to go through your syllabus, your study material thoroughly, and I may not be able to pick up every line and everything from the subject, okay, from the study material. So I advise you, go through, open your books, go through and study this. Fine. So okay, so now I will be taking some queries if we have. Okay,